the next 3 weeks are going to be really busy for me because my wife's on holiday. So what that will mean is that there'll be slightly fewer videos posted on this channel. So what I'm going to do today is to make 3 videos, and then I'll release them one by one during that 3 week period, and then things will be back to normal after that. So in this first video today, I'm going to talk about the UK general election that's scheduled for Thursday, July the 4th. So just under a week's time. I'm recording this on the preceding Friday. So I've got 3 things to say about that general election that's coming up in Britain. First one is that Rishi Sunak has been told by the big club that he's going to throw this election. So they want the Labour Party, Sir Keir Starmer in, and Sunak has just been told to come up with as much ridiculous policy ideas as possible to try to turn as many voters off from voting Conservative as possible, to give Sir Keir Starmer the biggest majority possible. And I also think as well, they want to actually, the big club wants to destroy the Conservative Party. It's outlived its usefulness as far as the big club is concerned. And obviously I think they want Reform to be the kind of the opposition basically to Labour. It's just a switcheroo tactic. So so some things to say about this. Like, number one is yeah, it's all happened before, hasn't it? You know, if you think back to when Theresa May was Prime Minister, the Brexit vote had taken place. Theresa May's a Prime Minister. She doesn't want to do Brexit. So for some obscure reason, she's got a massive majority, but she decides to call a snap general election. And then they construct this election manifesto that is just designed to turn away the Conservatives' main voters, which is kind of, you know, rich boomers, basically, owner-occupiers. And in the manifesto it says you're going to have to sell your house to pay for your care when you're elderly and you need to go into a home. So that was guaranteed to hemorrhage the core of the Conservative vote. So was that just a mistake? I would say no. It was designed to try to reduce the Conservative majority. It was a hung parliament, if you remember what happened next. And the objective of it was then to say, oh, well, we can't do what we want to do. Like, we want to do Brexit, and, you know, but we can't do because there's a hung parliament and we don't have the majority anymore. But they actually created that situation by calling a general election when they didn't need to, and then basically just producing a kamikaze election manifesto that was designed to turn voters away from the Conservative Party. So this is what's happening now with Sunak. The big club want the Conservatives gone. They think, as I say, it's outlived its usefulness, and which is quite interesting in itself. I think they realise that maybe things aren't going as well as they would like to, and they just need to do a switcheroony, replace Conservatives with Reform. So the second thing I want to talk about is, like, Nigel Farage. Like, honestly, there's a website called The Conservative Woman, and basically it's the 28th of June today. It's Friday the 28th of June. I'm recording this, so you can look back on their website, The Conservative Woman, and they had couple of articles about Farage. So I wrote my comment, which was like to the effect that, like, come on guys, if you seriously think that Nigel Farage is not controlled opposition, then I'll have a pint of whatever you've been drinking. And I posted that at about 7 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, that's pretty extreme, isn't it? And what shocked me was that I went back to look at my comment, and it got 1 upvote and about 28 downvotes. So I just can't believe how stupid people are in believing this kind of Reform psyop led by Richard Tice. You know, so what things have I got against Nigel Farage? Like 2, really. first thing was there's the clip of him saying that he wants Tony Blair to be in charge of the the what things that we can't talk about. That one. And I also remember watching clips of him saying, "Oh well, everyone's going to have it. You just have to." It was like saying it in his like matter of fact voice. If you want to travel or go to a football match, it's just everyone's just going to have it. Unbelievable. Second thing is about him that makes me kind of worry. Now, what was it? Now, what was I thinking? 2019 election. It's not that long ago. That one that was held in just before Christmas time. Do you remember? So he created the Brexit Party. He got loads of people to stand. He got loads of people to stand as potential candidates in each constituency, right? And it was all like looking really, really good for them in the polls. And then do you remember what he did at the 11th hour? He just like pulled all his candidates out and let the Conservatives have a free run at it. So again, you think, oh, this is bonkers. But actually, when you actually understand that this guy is controlled opposition, he's big club, he's the same as all the rest of them. He might be a slightly better lifetime actor than Rishi Sunak or Keir Starmer, but he actually is one. That's just self-evident. The other thing to say as well is that I'm not discounting the possibility that at one time he may have started off as being legit. I can't remember, this might be scrubbed from the internet now, but he had some sort of crash. I'm not sure if it was a light aeroplane or a helicopter, and he got away with, he managed to walk away from this thing, and he was very, very lucky. I wouldn't be surprised if the big club at that time, when he was legit, wanted to bump him off, and he survived. And I think from that point on, he was like dancing to their tune. So that's the second thing that I want to say. Like, if you believe in this reform stuff, like, how many more times do they have to play the same trick on you? And for you not to see it, they do it all the time. I remember that election when Cameron came in as Prime Minister and Osborne was Chancellor. And their manifesto, it was when they went into coalition with the Lib Dems, and before that election, in particular, Osborne was talking a really great game about the national debt and how it was unfair on other generations, and how Gordon Brown had blown up a big debt bubble, and he sounded like legit, right? So and then he gets into power, and so what does he do? He blows up an even bigger bubble in the housing market, another big debt bubble with Help to Buy, another new scheme. So Farage is going to be the same thing. The manifesto, yeah, it looks good, right? Same as this Malay in Argentina. The manifesto looks okay, and I can understand why people might be attracted to it. And maybe it's a good sign that people like the ideas that Reform are putting forward, or that Malay put forward. But I'm telling you, it ain't gonna happen. These people are just Trojan horses. They're just mugging you off, I'm afraid. The last thing that I want to say is just I could vote in this election if I wanted to, but I'm not going to vote because as far as I see it, voting is immoral, because the whole concept of government is immoral. So you've basically got, I don't know, like this time around, I wouldn't be surprised if the turnout it'll be less than 40%, right? So you might have somebody winning on, maybe they get just over half of the votes on 30%, right? So what's that? It's like 15% of those people eligible to vote actually cast their vote in favour of the politicians that took up government, and then they're handed almost, in Britain it is unlimited power, because we don't have a working constitution, right? So none of this in the comments about Magna Carta. because that's just a joke. It's just a historical document. It's not legally upheld, is it? Yeah. Do you remember during the Divot and the lockups, the people that tried to use Magna Carta as a defence? Yeah, and they were just laughed at in court, right? So just wise up. So you've got this system then where it's not even a majority of people. A minority of people can impose tyranny. They can send you a bill for stuff that you don't want, like the government spending money on bringing over people on rubber boats and putting them up in 4-star hotels. All the kind of crazy stuff that goes on in education. The government spending your money on poison in the November Hotel Sierra, right? And they send you a bill for all of that, and that bill is called taxation, and they take that money from you, and that's not a choice as far as you're concerned. That is theft. It's coercion. If you don't pay their bill that they say that you owe them, and you've not asked for any of these services, they throw you in a cage, or they threaten to do that, and they hold you hostage until you pay them. That's like, I don't want to take part in any of that. I'm sorry, that's immoral. So talking about natural law, natural law is objective. It's not a matter of opinion. It's God-given fact, and we all know, or we should know, what natural law is. Like, don't kill people, don't physically harm people, don't steal from people, don't like their property or their income. So can you see, like, the whole concept of government is immoral. It breaks natural law. The other thing as well is not stealing people's free will, like, by coercing them into doing things that they otherwise wouldn't have done, by telling lies or manipulating information or using nudge theory, these psychological kind of like behavioral psychology sort of stuff. It's all immoral because it all runs contrary to natural law. So if you vote, that act of voting in itself is running contrary to natural law, because you're actually taking part in this system of oppression. You're actually voting for your own continued slavery, this continued model of government. And it's just, as I say, it's just morally wrong. And the more people that go against natural law, the worse things will get in society. So we actually need to make a break from this. And I don't want to vote for a political party that promises to take money from certain groups of people, even if Gary's economics tells you, the rich, or what dehumanizes them in some ways. In 2024, it's the rich. Back in 1933 in Germany, it was the... And then, the promises to redistribute that money that the government has stolen and like giving it to you. Oh, that sounds great. It's immoral though. Can you not see how it's immoral? Because it's paying tax, it's compulsory, it's compelled, it's coerced via violence or the threat of violence. Pay us what we say, and if you don't, they throw you in a cage. So, I know I'm not going to vote, that's 100%. I can understand slightly the people that say, I want to vote for an independent. But even then, how much do you actually know about those people that are you're going to just give them power and give them power to take money straight out of your wages and then blow it on stuff that they think you should have? We actually need to move towards a society where we take control of our own lives. We run our own lives. We earn money and we decide what we're going to spend it on. And all transactions are voluntary. We need to move away from this system where it's like childish, I'm like really stupid, so I'm just going to grant these people who are like parents, like politicians, and they're just going to maybe give me a bit of pocket money, take most of my cash, and then spend it on things that they think I should have. It's like, come on, guys. This whole system of government, it's completely and utterly immoral because it runs contrary to natural law and just the basic idea of human freedom. So that's all I want to say about the July the 4th election. Um, just like, if you are registered to vote, like, do not spoil your ballot paper, as I've said before, because what they'll do is say that oh, the voter turnout rate is, I don't know, 60%, 50%. We need to get that voter turnout percentage down as low as possible, and spoilt ballot papers count as a vote cast. So we need to stay at home. It's like really, really easy, this one, right? It's like do nothing is the right thing to do. Stay at home, burn your ballot paper, yeah? And yeah, that's all I want to say today. So God bless.